Welcome back. Did you guys enjoy a little R&R? Did you get away like most of the NHLers? Did you go down to Cabo for a couple days, turn your phone off, not listen to anything, not take any message, and most importantly, not place any bets? Of course not. That wasn't even close to on your mind. You were betting on sports that I don't even know exist. I currently don't know those sports exist, and you found ways to bet on them. Like you were betting on that cross-country skiing where they have to stop and then shoot a raccoon and then like keep going. One of the all-time scam Olympic sports are those people who just go across the fjords and then stop and like they have to start skeet shooting and then they just keep going. You want to know why it's not impressive to me? What we do on this channel is way more impressive. Why? Because we got competition. Fortunately for me, the #1 NHL betting show in the world is exactly where you are right now. There's not a single show out there. Oh, go know what I saw on this planet. No. Go look at anywhere you want. ESPN or NBC, this, that, the other. NHL bets every single day. You're looking at the most popular show. And the reason I'm not impressed by those I'm not impressed by those Olympic gold medalist raccoon shooters who go across the country skiing. Because where's the competition? Where's the competition? My whole life, I've never seen somebody who had to leave class early because he had to go, upstate and then go across the mountain and shoot raccoons. Never met a single person in my whole life. So I'm supposed to be impressed. Who did you beat? What was the pool of people you had to beat to get there? So I'm simply not impressed. And if there's one of you guys who won the gold medal who's watching this video, I guess what I'd say to you is you're an Olympic gold medalist at something, yet you still have to watch this video for Sniffs. That's how much that gold medal did for you. So now let me go on to the reason that you're here, and that is some Monday NHL Sniffs. Now, the last time we chatted, was last Wednesday, unless you watched Picking Corners on Friday. Hopefully you guys did. I answered some question from the Patreon folks, looked at a couple futures. You can still check that out. But last Wednesday, when I checked in with you, we went unders across the board, all 3 games, and even that little extra bump it up was exactly what we needed because we bumped up the Kings game to under 6.5. Why? Because if it's 3-2 in the third, we don't want to push on an empty netter. What happened? It was 3-2 in the third, and we did not push on an empty netter. Who won that game? The LA Kings. So that was a nice Wednesday to leave you guys off on, which, when you leave people off like that, they come back ripping and excited, ready to go. So how are we going to handle these games coming out of the All-Star break? Interestingly enough, not all that dissimilar to how we handled the ones going into the All-Star break. Now, I reached out to Carlo last night, and I said, Carlo, now, I was never in the league or anything, but I have been a guy who's had to do things in my life, and I've taken a vacation. You want to know what I am that first day back? Not the best version of myself. And he just said, bingo. I said, so what are you expecting out there? He said, sloppy couple of periods for most of these teams. And think about it. It makes sense. These teams, most of them, they haven't played in a week. Now, you got to get things going again. How does that what if a goalie had a ton of confidence? Like one of the goalies on this slate, Samsonov, right? Back-to-back great wins against Winnipeg, played fantastic, allowed, 2 goals total. Shutout at home, and then 2. But now you take this break, and if you guys remember Sergei Bobrovsky in the playoffs was shutting down everyone. They sweep Carolina, had to sit on all his feelings for a couple. They're emotionally fragile, those goalies. And then Vegas just completely waxed him. He lost his confidence from the previous round. So a week can do some damage to you mentally. So I'm kind of going to make some bets that are somewhat in line with what you saw before the All-Star break. Now, the players on Toronto, they had to every single significant player from Toronto had to partake in the All-Star game, and you can't even mail in the All-Star performance like my man Nikita. If you're upset that Nikita Kucherov mailed it in, to me, a guy who likes to laugh, that was the funniest thing. You want to know who my younger brother texted me about during the All-Star skills competition? One person. One. He's the best passer in the league. He's the top point producer in the league. Did you see those passes? Just winging them, couldn't care less. To me, it's hysterical. But the kids, The kids got to watch Connor McDavid do it. So it's a great see, kids, you can be like Nikita or you can be like Connor. It's good that he was there. You can show him both sides of the Harvey Dent coin. Anyway, all the Toronto Maple Leafs couldn't really mail it in. This is their home crowd. Same thing with the All-Star game. They ended up winning the thing. But really, I'm betting against those Leafs who made the All-Star game and have absurdly high shots on goal totals and then the 1.5 point totals. So I'm going under 4.5 shots. I mean, that's a crazy number for William Nylander. That's probably my favorite of all the Leafs bets. Then I'm also going to do the under 1.5 points for William Nylander. I'm going to do the under 1.5 points for Marner and Matthews. I'm banking that this is going to be somewhat of all right, we're just getting back into gear here. And I'm going to hope that it's a little bit crusty. But more importantly, for me, it's the Islanders. Because typically, if this was 4 weeks ago, I'm like, we're not touching anything under related with these Islanders the way they play defensively. Well, number one, they brought in Patrick Roy, who has been spending most of his energies focusing on the defensive end of things. And even he was working on the penalty kill as soon as they got back to practice. And they're getting Ryan Pulock back. So now they're full defensive core. You know how I said the Islanders are missing 3 of their top 6 defensemen? Well, all 6 are back now. They're going to have Pulock with Pelech and a defensive coach. So the defensive core is going to be mostly healthy. The Islanders are fully healthy. Sorokin's going to be starting in this game. If we get a slow start out of these Leafs or they're just not fully engaged because of the break, then some of these unders can work well for us. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that full slew of Leafs unders. And on the Islanders side, I'm going to go back to a guy. We've cashed on him 3 straight games now. And I told you, as long as they leave his shots on goal at 2.5 and they give me a decent price on that over, I'm going to take it. And that's Noah Dobson. He is no stranger to shooting the puck. He will throw everything toward the net. We obviously know he's their top power play defenseman in this game. A guy who didn't make the All-Star game. That's the other half of this, by the way. On this slate, some of the better players on these teams who ate a lot of minutes, older players who maybe can benefit from a little bit of rest. I'm going to bet on them and stay away from the guys who partook in All-Star festivities. So I want the over 2.5 shots on goal for Noah Dobson. And then I told you the assortment of Leafs bets. I really am flirting with the under 3.5 goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe it's a half a sniff. Maybe it's because of what Carlos said. I'm trending towards all Leafs unders in this particular game against the Islanders. As you noticed, I'm staying away from Tavares. He was playing very poorly. There's been talk they might demote him from the first power play, but against his old team, we've seen him come through already this season. I'm staying away from that. And now we can talk about the other New York team, the New York Rangers, and they are at home against the Colorado Avalanche. Got to figure Georgiev is going to play this one against his old team in Madison Square Garden. Now, for the Rangers, in my opinion, this All-Star game came at the perfect time for them. The majority of their forwards that they count on are like 30 and older. All right, they sent Trocheck to the All-Star game and obviously Shesterkin. But tell me that this layoff didn't help Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, and then just the Rangers as a whole. I mean, I think they have like 4 or 5 wins in their last 13 games or something like that. So they can definitely use that. They do have Trouba, who's dealing with the last game of a 2-game suspension, I believe, so they won't have Trouba. I look at this game, and you know what I see. I see the Colorado Avalanche on the road, that exciting girl that you like to bet on, bet against, bet on the overs, and I can assure you it's very tempting to me, for certain. But rather than strictly say, I'm going to go with the over, because the under is like a slight minus. You know, I always tell you, like, a wink to me from the sports books that we should take the over is when they juice it up a little bit, like minus 135. It's like, it's like they're trying to entice people to bet the under. I like betting the over in those situations. Well, the under here is a little bit higher of a minus, just by a hair. But that makes me think every Joe Blow goes over, and that really shouldn't affect my opinion when it comes to hockey, maybe a little bit of football. But just because I don't want to find myself in a position where I was the Tuesday before the All-Star break. I don't want to think that there's going to be any sort of... We took the under in Detroit, Ottawa, 2 members of the Scam 5. We broke a commandment. We grabbed the apple from the tree, forbidden fruit, that whole thing, and we came out unscathed. I don't want to have to relearn that lesson, so I'm not going to take the over 6.5, but I will take that both teams to score 2+ in this game. And I do think that there is opportunity here for some of those veteran Rangers who got some rest to be able to get on the score sheet. We know Colorado's, they can be vulnerable. They concede. They absolutely do. They score, but they concede. And I'm looking at Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider to register a point on the Rangers side. On the Colorado side, I'm seeing Mikko Rantanen 2.5 shots. We're not getting a great price, but usually he's listed at 3.5. Rantanen, after some rest on the road at the Rangers, I'll take the over 2.5 shots on goal for him. And just because I saw Mika Zibanejad over 2.5 shots on goal at plus money, he should be rested, blasting one-timers on that power play. I would think that he can get it against an Avalanche team who is not scared to go back and forth and trade chances with you. So I like the Zibanejad point and the over on his shots on goal. On the other side of the game, I like the over 2.5 shots for Mikko Rantanen. And if you want a little semi-ruckus, the 2 points for Panarin, who got a chance to rest, and the 2 points for Rantanen, who got a chance to rest. And I think that puts you at like plus 320 or something like that. So that is what I got for you on this first day back. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. There's a huge slate tomorrow, so I'll start karate chopping that probably as you're watching this video and try to find some good picks in there. Hopefully this early Monday slate treats us well. If anything else comes up, you guys know I always update the picks, put any last-second ones on the Patreon, so if you want, you could always subscribe there. It's patreon.com/Andy Francess. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Looking forward to it. I will talk to you then.